Dexter Rosaratine Episode 6 Ending Explained Breakdown. What if the person you thought you'd finally beaten wasn't even the real threat? What if the killer you stalked, hunted, and killed had an identical twin with the same thirst for blood, and the same obsession with making you their ultimate trophy? Yeah, that's exactly where Dexter Resurrection just took us. And I've got to tell you, I saw a lot coming this season. The rideshare cover identity, Prater's twisted serial killer dinner parties, even Batista getting closer to the truth. But this, the Gemini killer twin reveal, that's the kind of twist that doesn't just raise the stakes, it rips the entire game board out from under you. And here's where it gets even more messed up. It's not just a cool twist for shock value, it's logical. It makes sense. The Gemini's killing pattern, always in pairs, wasn't just psychological flair, it was math. Two killers, two sets of eyes watching, two monsters feeding off each other's kills. Now, before we tear into the ending, let's just admit it. Episode 6 might be the most important bridge in Resurrection's first season. And I don't mean bridge like a filler episode. No, I mean this is the pressure point, the hang, the moment the entire back half of the season pivots on. Because this wasn't just Dexter playing cat and mouse anymore. This was cat versus cats. Here's the thing. Dexter's journey in Resurrection isn't just about him perfecting his craft again, or evading capture. It's about him awkwardly, reluctantly, painfully trying to be human. And that's dangerous for someone like him. We open with him delivering a heartfelt eulogy for blessing Kamara's late mother. A real eulogy, not just going through the motions. There's emotion in his voice, warmth in his eyes. And that's not something we're used to seeing in Dexter Morgan. And I'm sitting here wondering, is this the man? Or is this the mask? Because if you've been with this franchise since the beginning, you know that the second Dexter starts feeling anything too deeply, people die. Maybe not because of him, but around him. And right on cue, Prater starts circling. This is the moment that's been quietly building since episode 1. The moment Dexter's red persona stops being his shield and starts being the bait. Prater doesn't just want him gone, he wants to dismantle him piece by piece. And the weapon he chooses, Charlie, loyal, sharp, relentless Charlie, sent in to investigate. And believe me, when Prater sends someone to investigate, they're not showing up with a clipboard. Now, here's the controversial part that had me yelling at my screen. Dexter thought he had the upper hand. 3 of Prater's killer dinner guests, already taken care of. Rapunzel and Gemini, all that's left. And when Gemini steps into the spotlight, David Dastmalchian delivers one of the creepiest performances this series has ever given us. But then the knife twists. He's a twin. You can see the calculations start to flicker behind Dexter's eyes in that moment. Every kill, every crime scene, every breadcrumb doubled. Which means every mistake is doubled too. And if Dexter missteps once, if he underestimates them the way he underestimated the first, the second Gemini will tear him apart. And this is where I have to drop the first big forbidden knowledge bomb for you. Because fans who only started watching Resurrection might not know the real reason this twist is so dangerous for Dexter. See, in the original series, when Dexter faced opponents who were part of a pair, like the Barrel Girl Killers, his entire code started to crack. Why? Because pairs are unpredictable. They're harder to profile. One can bait you while the other sets the trap. And now he's in that exact nightmare again. Let's pause for a second. Because if you're still watching, and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, you are literally missing out on the one channel that will keep you ahead of every Dexter Resurrection twist before the rest of the internet catches on. So go ahead, hit subscribe now. I promise, when episode 7 drops and everyone's scrambling to understand what just happened, you'll already know the truth. Back to the carnage. The Gemini's first on-screen kill in episode 6, let's be real, it felt rushed. Dexter's ritual scenes, the iconic table, the slow reveal, the needle, the wrap, the chilling conversation before the end. Those aren't just fan service. They're psychological warfare, and we were robbed of it here. But in hindsight, maybe that's the point. Because what if this wasn't the real ritual? What if Gemini has his own, and we just haven't seen it yet? See, this is where Resurrection is getting dangerously good at playing with us. They know we expect the ritual. They know we live for that conversation. So when they cut it short, it's not a mistake. It's a warning. And yeah, we have to talk about Mia, Kristen Ritter's Lady Vengeance. Gone. And I get it, I really do. Story-wise, it makes sense. She served her purpose, her reputation was already revealed to be a hoax, and Dexter had to move forward. But come on, the chemistry was there. The potential was massive. Imagine a scenario where Maya and Dexter teamed up for one archie. 2 predators working together until their instincts turned on each other. We'll never get it now. And for me, that's a missed opportunity that stings. But if Maya's absence leaves a gap in the dangerous equals category, Batista more than fills the persistent hunter role. His pursuit of the Bay Harbor Butcher is patient, methodical, and terrifyingly close to the mark. He's in NYPD territory now, working with detectives Wallace and Olivia, and every quiet scene of his feels like a storm front moving in. You know the moment's coming. The one where he knows it's Dexter. And when it hits, the show's going to detonate. Meanwhile, Charlie's softer side is teased through her scenes with her sick mother. And if you think Resurrection showed us that for no reason, you haven't been paying attention. That thread's gonna matter later. Now, before we slide into the Harrison subplot, here's a question for you. And I want your answer in the comments. If you had to choose one Dexter villain to survive long term, Trinity, Miguel Prado, Hannah McKay, or Gemini, who would it be, and why? And remember, in this hypothetical, they know Dexter's identity. Yeah, think about that. Alright, Harrison. This kid, he's still reeling from his mistake with Elsa. And yet, in this episode, he offers to babysit her son Dante. That should be sweet, right? But instead, it nearly ends in a violent altercation with her landlord, played by Steve Schirripa, which is such a clever casting nod to The Sopranos. Harrison's temper, his impulsiveness, his need to protect, these are traits Dexter recognizes all too well. But here's the twist. Dexter doesn't want to nurture those traits. He wants to protect Harrison from them. And that leads us to the single most emotional beat of episode 6, their conversation at the end. Dexter finally says the thing we never thought we'd hear. He doesn't need Harrison to have a dark passenger. He doesn't need Harrison to be like him. Instead, he acknowledges the good in his son, and credits Rita for it. And if you've been here since season 1, that moment lands like a punch to the chest. Here's the thing about Dexter. Resurrection, it doesn't just throw a twist at you and move on. It plants little seeds so small you might miss them, and then episodes later, they explode into something lethal. And episode 6. Oh, it's full of seeds. Let's start with Prater's game. The man doesn't just recruit killers for his dinner parties, he curates them. Rapunzel, Gemini, the ones Dexter's already taken down. And here's what's been nagging at me. Why these killers? Why this particular mix of styles, methods, and personalities? If you've been following Breakdown Epic for a while, you'll remember in our episode 3 deep dive, we talked about the collector mentality. Some killers collect trophies, others collect experiences. Prater, he collects personalities. He's building his own sick hall of fame. So when Dexter eliminates one of his guests, Prater doesn't just lose a soldier, he loses a prize piece. That's why Gemini's reveal as a twin is so dangerous. Prater suddenly has an insurance policy. If Dexter kills one Gemini, the other can still serve the cause. And let's be real, we still don't know which twin Dexter actually met. Did he kill the true mastermind, or just the decoy? Speaking of decoys, I need to drop a forbidden knowledge nugget here that most casual fans missed in episode 6. There's a blink and you'll miss it line where Gemini mentions keeping the record clean. Not their record, their record. And if you've read the old Miami PD case notes referenced in Dexter early cuts, you know that's a direct nod to the Gemini killings that went unsolved before Dexter ever set foot in New York. That means these twins might have been active and untouchable for years. So imagine this. Dexter thinks he's just cleaning up Prater's dinner party list, but in reality, he's stepped into a killing partnership older, deeper, and more organized than anything he's ever faced. Now, let's pivot to something that's been hiding in plain sight: Batista's strategy. You've noticed it, right? He's not chasing Dexter like Dokes did. He's not trying to corner him with raw aggression. No, Batista's playing a long game. He's letting Dexter think he's safe, letting him think New York distance protects him. And when you combine that patience with the NYPD resources now at his disposal, plus the fact that Wallace and Olivia have no idea they're working alongside a man hunting a colleague from his past, it's a powder keg waiting for a match. Remember when Batista told Quinn back in Dexter season 8, sometimes the best way to catch a killer is to let him think you're not looking. Yeah, he's following his own advice. But let's get a little uncomfortable here. Dexter's human side, the one we saw in that eulogy, isn't just inconvenient for him, it's dangerous for everyone around him. Why? Because empathy slows him down. It clouds his calculations, and in a game against killers like Gemini or masterminds like Prater, even a half-second hesitation can get you killed. Blessing Camara's friendship, Harrison's growing independence, those moments of quiet reflection, they're beautiful for character growth, but they're cracks in the armor. And the thing about cracks, pressure makes them spread. Let's test your instincts here. Hypothetical time. You're Dexter. You've just discovered Gemini is two people. One twin is still alive, and you don't know which one you've met. Do you A. Go on the offensive, hunting down the survivor immediately? B. Wait, watch, and hope the survivor makes the first move? C. Pretend you think they're dead, luring them into a trap? Drop your answer in the comments. And no cheating by saying, I'd call Batista. Speaking of Harrison again, let's rewind to that landlord altercation. I want to point out a detail that's too easy to overlook. When Harrison steps in to protect Dante, his tone changes. It's not the same defensive tone he used when arguing with Dexter in past episodes. This was calculated, cold, almost rehearsed. And here's my theory. Harrison's not free of the dark passenger. He's just better at hiding it. Think about it. He grew up watching Dexter mask himself for the world. He knows the rules. He knows when to smile, when to step back, when to feign innocence. The difference is Harrison's dark passenger might not have Dexter's code. And that makes him even more unpredictable. Quick callback to our episode 4 breakdown. Remember when I said Harrison's storyline would either end in tragedy or in betrayal? Yeah, that prediction's aging pretty well right now. And one more thing before we move to the deeper conspiracy web: Charlie. Everyone's sleeping on Charlie. Her loyalty to Prater is unwavering, but the introduction of her sick mother wasn't a throwaway emotional beat. In shows like this, personal stakes become pressure points. So if Dexter, or even Harrison, finds a way to threaten or save her mother, Charlie's entire loyalty structure could flip. And if Charlie flips, Crater's whole operation could implode from the inside. Here's your mid-video engagement challenge. I want you to comment the one character you think won't survive the season, and here's the twist. You can't pick Dexter or Harrison. If your pick turns out to be right, I'll shout you out in our episode 10 finale breakdown. Alright, now let's get to the part they don't want you to see. The Subtle Connections episode 6 plants to Dexter's Miami past. In Dexter's conversation with Harrison at the end, when he mentions Rita, there's a micro-expression. A tiny shift in Michael C. Hall's eyes. That's identical to the look he gave in season 4 after killing Arthur Mitchell. Coincidence? Not in this show. The writers are reminding us every victory comes with a ghost, and ghosts have a way of coming back at the worst possible time.